Conversations are key. Conversations are key. Conversations are key. And I built my career around production, editing, voiceovers, being a voice actor and DJing. And right now, I'm watching what's happening throughout my industry and just in the world in general. There's a work slowdown that's happening.
Yep.
So I'm asking you this not from theory, but from real life.
Yeah.
What should people like myself, the average blue collar person, what do we do right now? Today on Conversations Are Key, I'm sitting down with the one, the only, Justin Burns. Justin is going to break down what's real, what's coming, and how to stay ahead in the current climate. Justin, welcome to the show.
Listen, glad to be here, man. Excited.
You ready to key it up with me?
Let's get it.
All right. So Justin, what do we do right now in this current climate?
You have to adapt, right? You have to grow. You have to evolve. And that's something that a lot of people don't want to do. But unfortunately, as time has shown us, right? It happens at every juncture. It happens at every stage. I mean, our parents, my grandparents, your grandparents, everybody went through it, right? Think about, the transition from the factory age, right? Where everybody had factory jobs, and then that switched to office jobs, that switched to whole different industries. What's happening right now is not in the future. It's like right now. In the next few years, you're going to see AI turn into what we call agentic AI, which means that AI is going to get smarter. I remember like a few years ago, people was like, oh, AI is not going to take my position. Well, I mean, it's reaching, I'm even, being the CEO of a tech company, I'm even not, safe from AI. So what I tell people is, you have to if you're not ready, you need to get ready now. The time of saying, oh, well, I'm going to just go through school and I'm going to go through this long process to get prepared. No. You got to adapt yourself with the skills, because right now we are going through a evolution of ourselves. And I think it's going to challenge humanity too, to basically say like, all right, you've worked these regular jobs. You had these different careers, you've accomplished a lot of amazing things. Now, how are you going to level your thinking up? How are you going to level your skill sets up to adapt to something that honestly is going to replace a lot of people? So it's unfortunate, but it's also a great opportunity. And if people see both sides of the coin, I think they'll basically be prepared for something that's coming that's amazing.
Now, your motto talks about using your existing content and using that to push AI forward. What does that look like for the average day person?
Yeah, so I tell people this, like, the people who will control the future are not the people who fear AI. It's the people who use AI to their advantage. And fearing stuff didn't do anything for anybody, right? Saying, oh, like I tell people the greatest thing you can say is like, oh, I'm not technical. People be like, I'm not technical. I'm not a technical person. That's the greatest way to be consumed by everything that's around you. So what I tell people is you can't fear it, you have to learn it. And if you wait, if you hesitate, right? It's like if you hesitate for a fraction of a second, of a blink of an eye, you're done.
Yeah.
You're done. It's like, so about 2 years ago, I sold everything and went to Nairobi, Kenya, right? And I started traveling for a couple of years.
Now, I heard Kenya's lit.
Kenya is lit.
Everybody tells me
it's lit.
I went to South Africa.
Okay. I was there too.
Oh, really?
Joburg?
I went to Cape Town.
Okay, Cape Town is lit too.
Cape Town was lit. It was a vibe. But when I came back, everybody was like, "No, you should have went to Kenya first." That's the real flex. Cape Town was cool, intro to the continent, but I heard Kenya was popping.
Listen, Kenya and South Africa, two different countries, but they both crazy, both amazing. I tell everybody, travel, right? Because it gives you different experiences. So when I came back, I was gone for 2 years though. That wasn't traveling. That was
You spent 2 years over there?
I spent 2 years. Well, I spent 2 years traveling, like Africa, like different parts of Africa, Thailand, Bali. I was just traveling. When I came back though, there was driverless cars. There was robots walking around delivering food.
Yep.
Now, it's a statistic that says in the next 3 to 5 years, there's going to be more robots than there are humans. Think about that.
In 3 to 5 years.
3 to 5 years. So now, so check this out. This is what I tell people. you're not now going up against just AI. You have 5 industries. This is the first time. That's why I tell people, as much as you hear the doom and gloom, jobs being lost, there are actually 5 different industries about to converge at the same time. And it's crazy, right? Because usually there's one industry that takes over.
Right.
So everybody's talking about AI, but everybody's not talking about the other 5 industries, which are, you have agentic AI, which is basically smart AI. These are going to be, usually AI was just tap into ChatGPT, give me an answer. Well, now AI is going to be able to answer your emails. AI is going to be able to compose music. AI is going to, unfortunately, edit videos, right? So
yeah, I mean, I was playing around with it the other day.
Yeah.
One of the software programs has a auto edit.
Yep.
And it wasn't the greatest. It wasn't that good
for right now. For right now. But you're gonna blink, and in about 2, it ain't like a month. It ain't like 6 months now.
It could be.
It's gonna change. The technology is getting better. Like, I'm talking about
day.
a millisecond.
Yeah.
You're gonna snap your fingers, and tomorrow you'll go and the editor will completely edit the whole video.
Yep.
So you have agentic AI that's actually not. It's like it's here. But then you also have the convergence of robotics, where now robots are actually here. So when you combine AI and robots, now you're talking about the future. Then you're talking about the evolution and the speeding up of energy sectors like energy. That's going to be big. You have biometrics, where disease used to be something that's still rampant,
right?
But that's because that's a whole industry coming where that's going to be able to scan your body and tell you to your exact DNA what's going on with you, the health challenges you're having. And then that's to mention also the 4th industry, which is we have digital wallets, which is why everybody knows about cryptocurrency, but now that's why there's been so much resistance to banking and so many things. And then finally, you got my favorite industry, which is now you're going to see an acceleration of apps, software. That software is just going to be a consumption of everybody's life, which it already is. But I mean, listen, this is one of the greatest time in history. This is what I tell people. The preparation that if you were to just take time out of whatever you're doing, I don't care how busy you are, I don't care if you're working, take time to learn these skills, because they can be the difference between opportunities and people that don't have opportunities in the next 3 to 5 years.
So what do you tell the person that's not tech savvy? I know plenty of people that, they have it up here. They have the knowledge base. They've been doing it for 20, 30 years, but they are just not tech savvy. What do you tell that person? How do they capitalize off of this AI boom and this technology boom that's happening right now?
Yeah, so really, like, today is like no excuse. Like, when I started almost 15 years ago, you had to have some level of developer experience. You had to know somebody who knows somebody who knows somebody who was in tech, right? And it was like an elite club that nobody really listened. Well, nowadays, a lot of tools are like ChatGPT, where you just describe what you want or describe what you want to learn, and literally it will teach it to you. So literally there's no excuse. But most people are, like I said, they're comfortable. They're used to responding to things in a more slower way. You gotta be Speedy Gonzalez now. You gotta be able to really make fast, decisive actions like this if you want to be able to survive. And listen, there's so, when I tell you there's so much opportunity that's about to exist, like, people don't even understand. Like, there's one of the fastest ways right now that I tell people, you should be able to take an idea and create your own technology now, because there's so many tools out there. Let's give it on the show, right? There's tools like Lovable, there's Claude Code, there's so many tools that for $20-$30 a month, something small, you can say, create me an app for music. Like, I don't know if you ever heard, let's go down to where you at, right? With music editing. I mean, you've heard of Suno, right?
I've heard of Suno.
You heard of Suno.
Yeah.
So Suno is for those of you who don't know what Suno is a app that allows for you to describe a song. You literally take a song, you say, I want it like this. You put the lyrics in there. Matter of fact, AI create the lyrics too, right? You describe what you want. It will create a whole song for you. Now, I'm not talking about no junk. I'm talking about it sound like you was in a professional studio recording a 12-track like audio. Like, it's crazy.
But you can prompt it. Let's say you're a songwriter. You could actually plug it in and say, I want you, because one of my boys, this is what he's doing, right? He's created his own artist, right?
Yeah.
He's trained it on the voice.
Yep.
He writes the lyrics and he plugs it in. And it's a whole rapper.
Yeah,
You know
it's
what
a
I
whole
mean? And
thing,
it's
yep.
it's actually fire. You know what I mean? And he could
Yeah.
change the parameters of the voice, the cadence, the speed,
Yep.
and put that out as a new artist.
Yep.
And then he doesn't have to worry about looping in the labels or anything like that. It's pretty wild, man. You know,
Yeah.
and can sit back. His artist is out on Spotify making money, and all he had to do was just come in and write the lyrics and tweak the sound and everything. Do I think it's ethical? Probably not, because I'm a voice actor. You know, I get paid from being in front of the microphone. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I guess in a real world practical situation, somebody like myself who's a voice actor, who depends on auditions, right? The other day I got an audition for an AI company. What does somebody like myself do in this space of being a voice actor, right? How do I capitalize on what's happening in this AI space using your method?
Yeah, so the biggest thing is you can't approach the same problems with the same thinking. And that's the challenge. People are like, well, listen, I'm in this position. How do I hold on to this position? Well, a person that thinks outside the box will say, well, listen, there are thousands of problems in the voice acting space. There are thousands of problems that you ran into. It could be things in payments. It can be things with the technology. So what we have to do, if we are going to adapt to what's happening now, not what's coming, I just want to tell people this. It's not coming, it's here. If you want to adapt to that, you have to think outside the box. You have to say, okay, what are the problems right now that are in my field? Because there's 1,000 of them. People just don't, they be like, well, I'm just this, and I'm just working, because most people are used to thinking linear, right? They're used to just thinking just a straight like this. Well, you have to now be able to say, what's the problems with this technology? Because even Suno, all these they don't solve a million problems. We call that bridging the gap, right? So bridging the gap is, all right, let me identify what the problem is. Maybe if they say you're building a technology, well, Suno might be too expensive. It might be not specifically for a niche, a specific niche. Let's say, for example, instead of creating a Suno, you created a technology for voice actors to be able to, they know, listen, you're not going to be able to go anywhere without something competing against AI. So what if, instead of like this AI company came in, what if you said, okay, look, we understand that this ain't, we can define what ethics are, but we could just say, look, why don't we just capitalize on this? What if there was a service where you lend your voice and there was a certain parameters of where your voice could be when it came to the technology, instead of saying, well, you can't clone me to use me anywhere, but this could go in commercials. You can use my voice to be cloned. You see what I'm saying? See, that's getting in front of a moving truck that's already moving 100 miles an hour, in opposed to you going, nah, I ain't gonna do that, because resistance creates what? More resistance. You get what I'm saying? So people don't understand that. And so my theory and why I've been able to grow a lot of my companies is because I'm not thinking about, oh my God, my technology is going away, or oh my God, this tech is going to be replaced. It's like, what can we do to actually think outside the box, to solve these problems that are actually not coming, that's here, and we can get in front of it.
So let me ask you this. I think I read that your theory, or not your theory, your process is you can, start building income in 30 minutes a day. What are people not being told about what that actually looks like?
Yeah, I mean, to me, like, the reason why I was able to travel for years is because I like to have digital businesses. I think everyone should create some type of digital, because everything is digital. The world is online, and they're only now every day. Even though, let's say like we're in first world country, it's easy for us, right? We here in ATL, we got access to internet. When I was traveling the world, right, everybody don't have access to internet. However, now that's starting to also rapidly increase, which is every day 22,000 people who never had internet are having access to internet. In the next 5 years, probably every person in the world, not every single person, but majority of people will have access with all the technology that's being created. So now you have access to a whole world of people. The challenge is that people try to only have the people that they know or locally. Doing business locally is going to actually kind of put you in a chokehold. To me, I'd rather do business with the world. So that's why that's always been my thinking. Like, give you an example. Because I have an internet company that anybody can use, right? There was a school, developing technology school, that reached out to us in Kenya.
Yeah.
Now, going to Kenya, I got a consulting contract that allowed me to go to Kenya, and now they can use my technology in a whole nother part of the country. Many of my customers who are building things like apps and software and digital business like that, because to me, like, that's the best thing. Like, it used to cost $50,000, $100,000 to hire a developer. Now you could go to one of the tools I talked about, and you can have a prototype up in 30 minutes, an hour, right? With these tools, it's crazy. Like, I don't think people realize like the times and the accessibility that they now have.
Right.
So for me, I prefer that, and I think I get joy knowing when we talk to customers and it's like, oh, I'm in London, oh, I'm in Spain, I'm in Germany. Stop limiting yourself to this parameter and think that the only accessibility that you have is people that you know or people in the city. No, do international business. That's where it's at.
So you're telling me that for somebody with my skill set, producer, editor, voiceover, DJ, I'm thinking too small. I'm thinking national. I'm like, man, I'm on these different networks and I'm doing these different, do iHeart and do all this different stuff. You're telling me I need to expand my horizon and my thinking, right? So what would a 60 to a 90-day plan look like if you were in my shoes? What would that rollout look like?
Yeah. So the first thing is, let's just say you take any idea, right? The thing about ideas, everybody has ideas. The thing that people don't have is effective execution. So the problem is that people just sit on ideas because they don't know the first step to do it. So let's kind of bring this down to where it's like, if I were to take any idea, the first thing I would do is figure out, all right, what is the problem that's not really being addressed or solved right now? Because people pay for problems. That's what people pay for. Not only that, but there's so many opportunities that's not currently being addressed. I think people be like, oh, there's not a lot of opportunities. No. If you were to just take a sit down right now, you say, okay, let me map out 3 to 5 problems right now. We call that elephant in the room, right? That means what's not being addressed, what's not being talked about. That's a lot, right? Then it's like, okay, next. What is the addressable market? Are people buying this? What does that look like? Then when you look at the competition, let me just tell you, even if they have, because this was I was on a panel recently, and one of the guys, I mean, he's a traditional corporate guy. He's like, well, if a company has billions of dollars, you're going up against $1 billion company. And I said, listen, let's reframe that for a second. That just because they have billions of dollars, that means that somebody's spending money. But that company can't possibly do everything right. So yes, I'm not saying go up against $1 billion behemoth. What I am saying though is there's always a strategy to war. There's always a strategy to what this company is doing wrong. And so they might be, say, missing features. So what I would do if I was in anybody's shoes right now, I would say, okay, there's a problem. We got this big market. Now let's create a piece of technology. I tell people this all the time. If you don't have a piece of technology attached to what you're doing in the next couple years, you're going to lose a lot of wealth. If you don't have it, because right now you even seen how many people are consumed by their phones, right? The average person checks their phone an average of over like 30 times a day. Yeah. Right? Probably more. So more than that. That's light. That's light work. Yeah. Right? Or how much of these web applications are we using, like Zoom, like applications every day? Technology, you don't have to teach people technology, they consume it. So if you want to be ahead of the curve, create your own technology, because then the world is your oyster. Everybody can use your technology, and you don't have, only people in Atlanta can use your technology. No, only people in the States can use it. Now, some people only have like a more like national technology, but like for me, the world is really my oyster. And I have customers in Africa. I got customers. I did meetups in Africa. I did meetups in South Africa. I was surprised. People were telling me like, man, I've been using your technology for years. So everybody can create. And when we hear the word technology, right, we often associate that with complexity. Technology don't equal complexity. You can have a simple piece of technology. Listen, there's applications out there that do something like 2 steps that would say you can create in a few days. People hear me say that, they instantly go, that sounds impossible. Right? But there are simple pieces of technology that can be built in a couple days with very limited resources that an average person who doesn't have a lot of background experience could start. You just got to start. That's the problem.
So, do you think AI is replacing creatives?
I think that I think a lot of people don't understand that AI can replace a lot of things, like majority of things. What it cannot do, though, and this is even going to be hard to say in the future, very soon, to say, oh, it can't think creatively. I say AI doesn't have necessarily a soul, right? And so there's going to be new ideas that are always going to be able to be birthed. That's why I tell people, create the technology that sits around AI. Don't try to challenge AI, because the computing, without getting too deep into the technology, computing power is increasing. There's so much technology being developed. There's AI is becoming even more aware and even more smarter. So instead of competing, let me just create something that sits on top of AI and use that to my advantage.
So that translates to people the person that's listening right now, for that producer that's listening, for that that voice actor that's listening, even for, let's say it's somebody that's working in, has their own cleaning company.
Yeah.
You need to solve a problem.
Yeah.
You need to solve a problem and figure out what that is. So think about it in the light of, this is a problem that I faced, and I've overcome that. And, now I know an application that I can apply so that, it has a real world solution, right?
Yeah, and you can also, here's the thing, you don't even have to have your own problem. There's so many, there's so many problems in the world. You can borrow a problem, okay? Listen, borrow somebody else's problem. Even if you don't, let's say you're like, I don't know any problems in this field. Well, listen, get out of your comfort zone, because there's been business ideas that I observed for a week, and I'm like, wait a second, even being overseas in Africa, there were so many problems that I was like, I don't live here necessarily, but you just have to get good at being able to solve problems fast and execute. And you now have the tools. You now have, it don't take a lot of resources. Here's what I mean. I just want everybody to hear this so people can listen to this and be like, I got it. I got it. Like, that's the thing. That's my vision, right? My vision is to get people to say, I got it.
Right.
It don't take a lot of resources in this day and time. It used to take a lot of resources. You just have to get over fear.
Yep.
You have to get over those doubts that say, oh my God, I'm scared because AI is coming to take, you gotta be able to silence all that noise for right now.
Yep.
And you just gotta be able to execute.
So what do you think the difference is between somebody who adapts and somebody that gets left behind? For those that are listening or watching right now, what's the key difference between the two?
So the person that gets left behind is like they kind of have like this ego attached to what they're doing. It's like, well, I just got to be better. Well, I just got to work more hours. Man, I just got to work harder. That's ego, right? The person that's adaptable to what we're about to, the phase that we're in now, which is, I tell people, we're in the Jetsons phase, if you can't tell. Remember, I don't know about you, but I grew up on the Jetsons, right?
Yeah.
And we used to be like, oh, the door, you press the door, the joint open, the cars are flying. There's flying cars. There was just like, we didn't talk about flying taxis, but there's been a lot of land that's been acquired for flying taxis. Uber, just literally in the next 6 months, they're going to be doing like flying taxi services where it's going to fly you from one location to one location.
Listen,
so
man, that's
crazy,
Jetsons all day. That's Jetsons all day.
I don't think people realize
and
it, right?
And honestly, that's an investment opportunity. Hopefully some folks.
Huge.
I used to, I followed what's the brother's name? Trapper, Wall Street Trapper.
Yeah, that's my guy.
Yeah, and for a while he was talking about Uber. I'm talking years ago. He was like, "Man, I'm holding on to this Uber because they're gonna be doing the flying taxi thing." Well, it seems like the time has arrived.
It's here.
We are here. Time is
It's
upon
here.
us.
Yep.
So, in terms of, for those people that are listening, these are also investment opportunities as well.
So much opportunities, man. I mean, not only can you create, and that's why I tell people, if you don't really, and I know this sounds crazy, but it's just, I mean, I'm gonna say it, right? If you don't get wealthy in this point in time, and that's from every aspect, it's your own fault. Because literally, like, even though there's and listen, a lot of chaos will try to blind you. There's war, there's all this stuff going on, but that's just distraction. You gotta lock in. You gotta be able to say, all right, I can hit this from two fronts. I can create some technology that's gonna change my own family's life, and on the other side, I can invest in it. It don't get no better than that, right? It used to be that you used to have had the seat at the table, right? Now you just got to have the knowledge. So the answer to your question is, how does a person who's not equipped to be able to do this. How do they win? It's just every single day, educate yourself and show up. Learning. That's one of the obsessions that I have, right? And that's why I was able to leaps and bounds go from this kid from the South Side of Chicago, used to work at Best Buy. You know what I'm saying? I know you can't picture that big dog, but I used to slang CDs and home theater systems at Best Buy.
Best Buy, word?
Best Buy, yeah. They've been around for a minute. But that went from all the different identities of selling cell phones. That was also one of my positions. I went through this. The stuff I'm talking about, I've lived it.
Right.
I've went through massive changes where it's like I'm selling cell phones. Then the cell phone industry changed.
Yeah.
What am I going to do next? And I go and get in this industry, and that industry changed. I was in the advertising industry. Then that changed. So you just, but the people say, how did you evolve through all these changes? Well, number one, I always face fear, no matter what it was. Number two, I never stop educating myself. Every single day, I tell the average person, especially people that look like us, listen, stop trying to think that education that you got in school is going to make you survive in a new world. It's not. Okay.
Okay. So
it helps you.
What's gonna get you there in the real world? Because the education, I'll be real with you. That's everything that I learned in school. Some of it applies, but
most of it don't.
It's all streets.
Most of it don't.
I'm not saying don't do it. It does. Doing it does show that you can start and finish something. That's one thing. But for the most part, you need to have the street smarts, and in this case, the street smarts is what?
Your phone. Like my granny used to say this years ago before she rest in peace to my granny. She said, boy, y'all living in one of the greatest times in history. And I was like, Granny, what you talking about? Why you say that? She said, man, I had limited resources. I had limitation to, the knowledge that we got was passed. It had to be given to us by people that we don't know if we could trust them or not. And she also said we had libraries, but the books were also limited. Now, there's no excuse. You got YouTube University. There's thousands of videos uploaded every second. Not to say all of them are right, but there's no excuses. You got courses. You got podcasts. You got so many ways to learn. There's no excuses, man. Even all the AI. I didn't go to school for this AI stuff. I just learned to adapt it, learn to listen to knowing which people to study, which people not to study. Because that learning also teaches you the people not to study. Because there's people you shouldn't study. But then there's also people that you be like, okay, let me follow this person that changes your life.
So you went from Best Buy to now you have your own business, Miestro?
Yeah.
Miestro?
Yeah, Miestro.
Maestro.
Maestro. We got two brands called one is called Apps Built with AI, where we teach people how to take an idea and turn it into apps. And then we also have our own company, Miestro, where I'm building actively with thousands of customers on our platform using it.
So you said it's ideas built to AI? What was
Apps Built with AI.
Apps built with AI.
Yeah,
so I can go on your website and, plug in my idea that I have and for an app, and it'll plug me in so that the AI will build it out? How does it work?
Yeah, so where I got this idea from was years ago, because I spent a lot of money on developers when I started to really get in the industry.
How much did you spend?
Over $1 million in
You
developers.
spent over $1 million.
No BS. Over $1 million in developers. Yeah, I made a lot of mistakes.
So what does that look like? Is it like, was that over the course of
That's over
6
the course
months?
of like 5 months. I mean, 5 years.
5 years.
Yeah,
$1 million.
So about $200,000 a year is average. And I didn't know up until my accountant was like, Justin, do you know how much you spend on developers? And I was like, I don't want to know. I know I spend a lot. It was like, you spend about $1 million. Now, I've made a lot of that back, but here's the thing, though. It was also trying to figure out an idea, hiring. I had 5 developers, so we were spending like $10,000 to $20,000 a month, some of our costs. But I always found the money because when you believe in something, you find ways to be creative.
So that's what I was going to ask you. Where did you get the money from?
Yeah, it was. So I figured out digital. I was selling digital products. I was speaking. I started really, really getting good at consulting.
Yeah.
So all of that money, most of it went back into the business. Because I believed in the dream.
So what kind of digital products were you selling?
So we had like everything from courses on, how to, speak and everything, different industries of how to build. I used to be in the industry of like how to build courses, teach people how to build them because I believed in digital products, right? Usually courses are associated with scam. That's not true, right? Because there's a lot of great ones out there that taught me, everything and who I am. So basically fast forward about 6 months ago, I tell people everybody have a destiny moment. About 6 months ago, actually about a year ago, I was in Bali and a young lady ran an organization that she would do these workshops. So she was like, "Hey Jay, you know you're a real smart dude. Why don't you come do a workshop on AI?" So I was like, "Okay, cool." I was like, "Well, let's do something specific." I actually coded a whole app, and like going through all of this, I coded a whole book software. So, you know, one of the challenges is writing books, right? Let's take an example. Writing books is a big issue. So one of the things I did was I was like, what if there was a way where you can hold a phone, you could record your voice, and then it would spit out a book based on your personality and some of the bullet points you gave it.
Oh, like ebook, straight up ebook.
Yeah, like a straight up ebook.
Yeah.
So I literally learned all of this stuff using these coding tools. I didn't even hire a developer. I want to strictly be only with AI tools. So I built it in like a week. It took me like a week to build the first prototype. You're always gonna have a first prototype. FYI, the first prototype might be a little bad, but you got to get through that. So it wasn't that good. But then after about a couple weeks, it started taking shape. Then I sent it out to some of my customers to test, and they gave me feedback on it. That's how you make your product better and better and better. The product ended up getting better. We ended up putting 100 people on the first product, which was great. So now I got theory. I didn't have to spend a lot of money. I bootstrapped it, got customers on it. Now,
And for those that are listening that don't know what bootstrap is,
it just means you don't raise capital.
Okay.
Right? It means that basically your own funds, your own bank, your own money is how you build it. And I'm a proponent of that anyway. I'm a proponent of if your ideas are really good, you don't need money up front to make it work. You have to be creative, because if you could get customers on it, then when you go to raise capital, guess what? You're in control. People are not controlling your ideas. It's like, hey, I got real world solutions. So anyway, fast forward, I do this workshop, and man, everybody was so impressed. I was teaching them how to build their own apps with AI. It ended up blooming from there. It ended up going like really, really crazy. Everybody was excited. When I came back to the States about maybe about, I want to say that's 5 months ago, we decided to host a summit and teaching people how to do it. And I was like, let me just see. But so much has come out of that. Now we have almost 40,000 people that have really went through the summit, which is crazy. And one, this is what made it worth it. There was a little girl, 14 years old. Her name was Melody, and her father made her like listen to the summit, but she started being really intrigued. Well, fast forward, she has this brand called Mind Bloom and Grow. She created an app in the afternoon. She took
what's the name of the brand?
My Bloom. I think it's like the website is mindbloomandgrow.com.
MY?
MY, yeah, Bloom, BLOOM, and grow.com.
Okay.
See if you can pull that up. So this is a 14-year-old girl, right? 14-year-old girl, and she developed a affirmation and self-esteem app.
It says it's the #1 affirmation app built for teen girls.
Yep. She built that from the summit. So this is a 14-year-old girl who grew up near Washington, D.C., doesn't have tech experience. She went to our summit, and she learned all the principles to how to build her own application, no tech background. And she said, hey, one of my missions is to empower teenage girls who look like me to be able to learn about self-worth. So she took that and built it.
It says AI-powered affirmations designed for real struggles teen girls face.
Yep.
Social media pressure, body image,
Yep.
school stress, and figuring out who you are. That's dope.
Yeah.
So when she said she's 14.
14.
And she did all of this.
She did all of that.
Wow.
Yeah. Now I helped her a little bit, but
okay,
you know, I ain't gonna look. I helped her, but that's the thing, man. When I think people don't understand that there's so many use cases to develop your own technology. 14 years old, and she actually attended one of our events recently, and she came up on stage, and I asked her, I said, what made you build this? And she just said, there's nothing out there that helps me. I had to create my own affirmations. I had to create my own self-image issues. I had my own set of challenges. So if I can help other little, girls to be able to take advantage of this, why not build it? She built it. It took her a week. She almost is close to 100 customers on her platform, 14 years old.
Subscriptions?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So she has 100 subscriptions of people that supported her. And I always promote her because I just love what she's done. But also her father said, hey, listen, this has also made us closer together, because I used to not be able to relate to my daughter. But
Yeah.
now, now us building an application and an app together has really transformed it. And she's making money, and she's going to be able to now invest that money at 14 years old. See, this is what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
When I tell people that this is the greatest time in history, I think people think I'll be hyping it up. I'll be like, that wasn't possible 5 to 10 years ago. She would have had to spend a lot of time, map out her whole project, take 6 months, take 20,000, borrow 10, find 10, $20,000, and then hoping that she would get a good developer who would do all that. Now time has changed, and now she's built that. So
Wow. So there's no excuse, people.
No excuses.
If there's,
None.
she's 14 years old. You know what I mean? And
yeah.
I just took a look at her site, and what she pulled up, what she did is absolutely amazing. And I think, to anybody that's listening or watching, there's no reason. Now's the time. Let's
now's
build.
the time. And it's a whole video. You'll see there's a whole video of her journey. She's also she's taken like film of her whole journey, so that as she starts to grow within herself through her own product, she's gonna impact so many people, man. And so I tell people who's listening, stop waiting, stop sitting on the sidelines watching. It's time to get in the game. It's time to play the game.
So let me ask you this. It's just a thought, something I was
yeah.
thinking about.
Yep.
Because everything sounds good in theory, but I think the disconnect for some people is that they don't actually see what it looks like in real life. So what if we actually documented this whole process in real time? Is that something you would be open to doing?
What you mean, documenting, helping you with something?
Yeah.
Yeah, let's do it.
We do it in real time.
Yeah.
We can, document it here. We could do a weekly, thing, have you come down, or once a month.
Yeah.
We set a target, and, we can, do updates.
Let's do it.
Tap in with each other, and just turn it into a real thing where people can actually see. I can document in real time. Okay, this is what I'm doing with the voiceover side of things, or the editing, or the producing, and we build something from scratch using AI. How would you feel about that?
Listen, man, don't tempt me with a good time. You feel me? Don't tempt me with a good time, because listen, that again, I say every moment prepared you for this moment, right?
Right.
The years of me studying an hour to 2 hours a day. Now I'm able to help the melodies of the world, and I can give you hundreds of case studies just like her. So yeah, man, let's rock.
Let's tap in. Let's do it.
Let's tap in.
Okay, cool. So I think we start from scratch. We could either do a 30-day or a 60-day, whichever you think would be.
We can do it in 30 days. Let's tighten the pot. Let's make
Okay.
it.
All right.
Let's make it happen. We could do 30, man. I'm up for a challenge. We could do, because see, the thing is, here's why I'm confident. I think people don't understand, like, most people don't understand that everything is about having frameworks, right? It's not about being the smartest. This is what I tell even the people who I work with who build apps with AI. It's not about being the smartest. It's not being the most technical. It's about having frameworks. That has been my success. Just like if I were to, you've been doing voiceover work for so long that the framework.
Yeah.
You may not, like, you do it so unconscious and you're so good at it that you could just repeat it over and over and over again. But if I said, hey man, let's break this down into a framework, you'll be able to do it if I put you in the right system.
Yeah.
And then you can say, here's the next step, here's the next step, here's the next step, here's the next step. That's a framework. So really, building technology and having like good technology is really a framework like anything else. And so the $1 million that I went through, the mistakes and the almost found in bankruptcy, all the challenges allowed me to know here's what not to do. And then when I started coming up for air and things started working because I stayed consistent to it, I was able to create a consistent framework to say, all right, here's how to find the problem. Here's how to find solutions. Here's how to build great looking sites. Here's how to not make it look like this. Here's how to build it. Here's how to find customers. That's one of the biggest things. So all of it is just a framework. So we'll do it in 30 days. I'm down to do it.
All right, let's do the 30-day challenge. We'll figure out the roadmap, what that looks like. And the beauty in this is folks will actually get to see the process.
Yeah.
And I know so many people that aren't working right now.
Yeah,
like,
there's a lot.
a lot of people in especially in my industry, some of the most talented people in the world are sitting at home trying to figure it out. You know, I've heard horror stories of people losing their homes. I even heard one story of somebody committing suicide. You know, so this could be the catalyst to show folks, at least in this industry, you know, this is what you could do differently to set yourself up in this current landscape. So my hope is that if this works for me, it could work for them. You know what I mean?
So yeah, we're gonna shift that. It will work for you,
Okay.
because it will work for you and it will work for them. See, the challenge that we have to realize is that the greatest, you know, give you an example. You know, about 15. I've been a full-time entrepreneur 15 years. I'm the first entrepreneur in my family, right? When I was fired, shout out to the people that fired me. Shout out to that manager who actually who actually wrote me up and said, we're going to fire him for hardly no reason.
Wow.
At that time, it felt like the worst thing in the world at that time, right? It felt like everything came crashing down. I thought it was the end of the world because of the limited scope, the limited view that I had, because for so long, I was taught that the way that you make it ahead is trading time for dollars. The way that you know, this is a worldview. This is the worldview that we've been given, right? But there's a different view.
Yeah.
There's a different world. So then when I just said, you know what? I'm going to pull my big boy pants up and I'm going to figure this all out.
Yep.
And guess what? The first 3 years absolutely were horrendous. Bank account always in the negative, make money. The bills obviously came in, robbed Peter to pay Paul, everything that happened.
Been there.
But guess what? Something happened in year 3. The light bulb moment came off. I started figuring things out. I started believing more in myself. I started figuring that, hey, I can create things that people want. Here's the shift that anybody listening to this that's going through this. In those times, we didn't have a lot of ways to really make a lot of money. We had to trade a lot of time for dollars, but there's a whole nother world that exists now with AI that you can create. As long as you get good, here's the thing. The shift has to go from trading time for dollars to trading dollars for solving people's problems and giving them value. People pay for value. Technology is just a vehicle. That's what I tell a lot of my students. Technology is just a vehicle to solve somebody's problems. And there's 2 things that people pay for. If you can get this, you won't have a lot of money issues and you won't have to think about this. I promise you, I know that sounds crazy, but it's true. Number 1, people pay for you to help them to make things easy and faster.
That's what I like to pay people to do.
I love to pay people to make things easier and faster.
Yep.
Right? Like, I'm good at shooting videos. I've learned some skill sets of editing. Now, I ain't that great, but I can go into Adobe Premiere and I can edit up some videos. But we got a videographer sitting a video guy sitting in the studio.
Right.
Because it's faster, because I'm better at ideas and execution. So I spend my time there.
You need to free your time up so that you can do that.
Yeah.
Right.
So, and also other people, just like I have a whole team of people that develop and we use tools. So what I tell people is, number 1, you know, people pay for people to solve their problems faster. Number 2, not just problems are just, solve problems. No, solve a problem we call it a pressing problem. Something that people Google, people keeps them up at night. If you could use technology to do that, game over.
Game over.
Yep.
Golden.
Yep.
So listen, where can people look you up? Where can they find you at? You know, social media, website, all of that.
Yeah. So I'm usually on Instagram. Instagram is Instagram.com/CEO Justin Justin Burns, like off The Simpsons. I used to hate that in high school, by the way, but that's the best way. CEO Justin Burns. And then you can find me to a couple of my websites is justinburnsofficial.com, where you can find all of the different companies that I own, because we also have an investment company where we invest in the future of technology. So you can find me there, and also apps built with AI. So that's a little long, but it's APPS and then built with the T and then with AI.com. We host some summits where we also show people how to actually take advantage of the largest wealth transfer that exists today.
15 years, entrepreneur.
Yep.
It's funny, man, how people have that story of being fired into their destiny. You know what I mean?
You fired into your destiny. Yep.
Yeah. I was with a job for a while, and I've been an entrepreneur now since 2016,
Yeah.
2016, 2017. And I wasn't fired, but I knew they wanted me to leave. And I just kind of had that feeling, you know?
Yeah.
And then it was confirmed. I remember sitting down years later and I was talking with a buddy of mine and he was like, you know, they wanted you to leave, right? They were just hoping that you would leave, but they didn't want to fire you.
Yeah.
Because I outgrew the position. You know what I mean? But it was the best move I could have ever made, stepping away.
Yeah.
The hardest thing, like you said, negative bank account days coming in, you know, robbing Peter to pay Paul, all of that. But best move I could have ever made.
Yeah.
So to anybody that's listening or watching, you know, if you have that impulse, if you've been recently fired, now's the time, you know, to tap in.
You got time.
Yeah.
Now, I know like the bills don't make people have time, but if you were to if you're listening to this, some encouragement, I've watched people who have been in hard spaces, and because of these opportunities that are in front of you, you just have to drown out the noise. You got to drown out, you know, I tell people all the time, man, for the next 90 days to like 6 months, go all in, ignore the political arguments, ignore whatever other arguments people trying to drag you in. Right now, you can get back to that. You can always find somebody to argue with about that stuff at any time. Lock in, focus, build some type of technology, and I promise you in the next 6 months or 12 months, you'll be thanking yourself for the decisions that you made today.
And lock in and follow us for this next 30-day challenge.
30-day challenge.
Yeah,
Let's get it.
We're starting from scratch.
Yeah.
And the goal is simple. We're going to get our first inbound revenue in 30 days.
Yeah.
All right. Appreciate you for joining me.
Yes,
Justin Burns, the official, my guy.
Yes, sir.
My guy. Thanks for stopping by, bro.
Thanks for having me, King.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.